Hello everybody, this is mrcrypt here, and I am back with another History Behind Outlast video. Firstly, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. Another year of content awaits. In today's video, we will be taking a look at Richard Trager. Let's get started. Richard Trager, also known as Rick Trager, is an antagonist in Outlast. He is an insane variant who experiments on patients in order to gain more knowledge about biology. Prior to his involuntary commitment at Mount Massive Asylum, Trager was the head of business development at Mount Massive Asylum and an executive of research development for the Murkoff Corporation. Trager was also a close friend with Jeremy Blair, as Wayland finds a document which proves that they were companions and used to golf together, as shown in the picture. Prior to the events of Outlast and Outlast Whistleblower, mitigation officers Pauline Glick and Paul Marion were called to investigate an HR complaint at Mount Massive. When the Pauls meet Trager, he is acting jovially, claiming to be a team player and wanting the two of them to be on Team Rick. Rick also harasses the female investigator multiple times. Trager claims that no one in his department is responsible for the leaks. The leaks refer to Trager raping another employee. During the conversation, Marion secretly signals to Glick that he considers Trager to be a dirty as hobo shit. To get more information, Glick asks Trager whether the two of them can meet for dinner. Trager accepts. While dining at a restaurant, Trager explains that, as a child, his father tried to convince him not to become a doctor. Afterwards, Trager drives Pauline back to his place, where he offers her cocaine. When she declines, he offers her scotch, which she also declines, in favor of red wine. While Trager is busy getting the wine from his cellar, Pauline searches his house and finds Trager's internet passwords, magazine guides on how to perform surgery, and a pamphlet for an abortion clinic, which was used for the pregnant woman Trager raped to get an abortion. While drinking, Pauline recognizes a sour taste and realizes that Trager spiked her drink with rifonol. Pauline responds by pulling her gun on Trager and points it at his genitals, forcing him to drink the rest of the drugged scotch. Trager passes out almost immediately. Pauline then calls Paul to pick her up from Trager's house. After leaving Trager's house, Pauline calls Paul, and the two confront pregnant Murkoff employees. Michelle has the source of the leaked information. Michelle reveals that Trager raped her and got her pregnant. Trager had then forced her to either get an abortion or to get fired, as she could tell no one without the risk of Trager firing her, and she could not take care of her child without her job. Michelle had decided to send the email with hope that Trager would be blamed and fired. Paul then made sure his severance package was made for Michelle in exchange for her silence. This way, Michelle was able to keep her child and it would be able to take care of it without working for Murkoff. Michelle agreed, but when she visited Jeremy Blair with the investigators to revoke her security clearance, a furious Trager stormed into the room, calling the two investigators lying bitches. Claiming that Michelle cannot prove everything, he grabbed a pair of scissors from a nearby table and viciously stabbed her in the stomach multiple times, severely wounding Michelle in the process. Paul then attacked Trager and took him to the ground. In the scuffle, Trager accidentally stabbed himself in the leg with scissors. Pauline subsequently grabbed Trager by the neck and ran his head against the paper shredder, ripping out his long hair and scarring his scalp in the process. Afterward, Trager was apprehended and taken as an inmate and used as a test subject for the morphogenic engine. Despite having been his friend, Blair personally watched when Trager was dragged into the machine, kicking and screaming, and smiled sadistically while watching. During the Mount Massive Asylum incident, he improvised himself as a surgeon and started cutting up staff members to cut corners. Dr. Trager, much like the rest of the asylum's inhabitants, is a sadistic and mass-murdering psychopath, but his psyche and mental ability appears to operate in a highly functional way that proves he still has a grasp of reality, even if only slight. Because of this, he is more capable of thinking, planning, and other things, such as tricking Miles into entering a dumbwaiter so he can gain access to him. Additionally, he is capable of both intelligent and coherent speech, speaks to Miles in a friendly tone and addressing him mockingly as Buddy. He either enjoys pretending to be a surgeon or has been driven to believe that he actually is one, and has a habit of collecting body parts from his quote-unquote patients, example, a tongue because he was tired of licking his own stamps, and Miles' ring and an index finger because he desires to sell them. Trager appears to be an atheist, or at least irreligious, claiming that God died with the gold standard, and we're on to more concrete faiths now. His view on religion put him at odds with Father Martin, for whom he harbors a great disdain. Trager is a very upbeat and friendly man. always cracking jokes and never losing his composure. However, this masks his true persona, a sadistic, murderous psychopath who takes great delight in torturing virtually anyone he comes across. His insane mutterings and notes reveal he is obsessed with making money, believing the only thing that really matters is making profits, and has a demented fascination with biology. He soothes both of these obsessions with his torturous occupation, learning about biology by cutting up his victims and gaining money by selling the severed parts. When he seems to maintain his polite and upper-class personality even while torturing Miles, he mentally breaks upon discovering Miles' escape, screaming profanity filled with rants, and yelling that he cannot stand quitters. Prior to his commitment in the asylum, Trager was a slim man with short curly hair who frequently wore a pink dress and a shirt with his collar popped and his sleeves rolled up just below his elbow, tucked into tan slacks, a black belt, matching shoes, and a dark blue sweater tied around the neck, along with an analog watch on his right wrist. Anyways guys, that will do it for today's video. Sources will be listed in the description below, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.